Brandon, welcome. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Now, I know you're a Classic FM listener, which is how we got to know each other on Twitter.
Oh, yeah.
Good things happen on Twitter, and I'm going to ask you about that in a minute. But first of all, this must be what everyone asks you. Was there, when you were a little boy, was there a moment when you saw a dancer or heard a ballet or saw a ballet and thought, I want to do that?
I can't remember anything precisely of an actual moment. It was kind of over time. Every Christmas we would always go to see the pantomime at the Bradford Alhambra Theatre. So it was kind of, I was just taken by the colours, the stage, the change of set. That kind of thing drew me in. And then just seeing lots of things on TV. And I do remember seeing a segment of the Nutcracker, actually, with Sir Anthony Dowell and Lesley Collier dancing in Sir Peter Wright's production over at the Opera House. And it was just a part of it, and that completely grabbed me.
That's a good start.
It's a good start. And then something which is completely different, and not a lot of people know, but I've got a big love for Irish dancing. I remember having a VHS of Riverdance live from the Radio City Music Hall. I fell in love. And to this day, I'm still in love with it. I'm going to go and see their tour when they're back.
Did you study Irish dancing
Not
as a boy?
At all. Not at all.
Because that's all about straight knees. Surely that's the opposite of what you now do.
But I think it was mostly the musicality and just the rhythm of it, and the sheer precision of the lines, the formations. That's what got me.
So you were hooked, but how did you start getting into it? Were you, like so many of our great male dancers, dragged along because you had a sister in a ballet class? That seems to be the story.
I mean, I do have an older sister. She's 2 years older than me, but she's definitely more of the academic route. I just danced around at home a lot, seeing different things on TV, from Top of the Pops to music videos, to the point where I was wearing holes in my socks, and my mum couldn't stand that. So she did some rooting around and sent me to Saturday classes, where I kind of did everything: jazz, contemporary, tap, ballet. But ballet is what stuck. And then from there, I actually moved to a different dance school, just to have it a bit more intense ballet tuition. And then it just kept on growing. I went to the Yorkshire Ballet Summer School, Yorkshire Ballet Seminars, and then from there I was pushed towards the Royal Ballet School, where I was there for 5 years, and that's where David Bintley saw me, who was former director of Birmingham Royal Ballet, and he just offered me a contract to join the company.
Well, that was going to be my next question. How did you... So you've been with BRB since you were 17, 18?
So I joined in 2011. And I've just started my 9th season, which is crazy. I can still remember the first day.
And since earlier this year, you've risen through the ranks, and you are now a principal dancer.
Yeah, which again, I can't believe that either. If I see it print, or when someone's mentioned it, I still kind of get a bit bowled over by it.
Well, I've always thought BRB, as it's called, is a pretty special company, not least because it takes ballet all over the country.
We regularly go to Manchester, with northern England, so like Sunderland, Edinburgh, Cardiff, obviously London, twice a year. Well, actually 3 times a year now. We have the slot at the Royal Albert Hall between Christmas and New Year. So the UK as well as international too.
So you feel very loyal to BRB?
Oh, yeah. And I mean, I know David Bintley isn't our director no more, but he employed me, he pushed me all the way through the ranks, nurtured me, gave me roles when I didn't even think I could do the roles, but he believed in me, so I had to believe myself. I didn't sustain many injuries at all, but when I did have them, he was very patient. He was like, no, come back strong, and trusted me and relied on me as well to even cover shows if people were off, which is always a nice opportunity when they want to put you on. And
well, there seems to be quite a current record at the other company, that Royal Ballet company, of dancers stepping in at absolutely no notice. Gone home, ordered a pizza, come back, you're on.
It has been a kind of a current thing. But injury is something which really happens across the board. You can never predict when it's going to happen, and it is, unfortunately, but at the same time, when injury happens, opportunity arises at the same time.
Yeah, you hate it, but I mean, nobody is irreplaceable. I know that from my singing career.
Yeah, right.
You have to withdraw because you've completely lost your voice. You can't utter a note.
Yeah.
And you feel a bit miserable and you feel you're letting people down. But there's always somebody who can come in and do a great job instead.
Yeah, but it's health first.
Yeah.
You know, and you've got to think about yourself sometimes and get stronger for the next stage.
Well, I know that David Bintley thought very highly of you because I interviewed him long ago and met him again in the summer. And I said, I hope Mr. Acosta, Senor Acosta, I suppose I should say, your successor as director of Birmingham Royal Ballet, I hope he has plans for Brandon Lawrence. And he said, oh, don't you worry, Catherine. He said, that's already taken care of. And the next week you were announced as principal.
Whoa, that makes a hair stand
And he really, he grinned from ear to ear because he knew something he wasn't allowed to tell me, but it was good news.
I mean, directors always know. They always know. I like to think that they all have like a group chat as well, like all the directors in the world, or at least in England, they all have a group chat, so they all know what's going on. But David, he always had things up his sleeve, whether it came down to choreography or just the sheer plans and vision of the company. So, and you know, you never know what's going to happen. I distinctly remember it was at the end of the season, we were at Sadler's Wells, and it was a scorching hot week. We were all just sweating buckets, and that's not even when we were dancing. And we were, because he was obviously leaving, there was a leaving party at the Shakespeare, the pub just at the back of Sadler's Wells, and it was after the final Hobson's Choice performance, curtain down, we were all there, and I mean, there were people going back to Birmingham, so there was a coach waiting, and then all of a sudden there was just kind of these little nuggets of congratulations to different people. And promotions were happening, and it was just like, oh my gosh, like, because no one knew that something like that was going to happen with it being a transition in the company. And then he just came up to me, and he said, do you want to hear some good news? And I was like, well, what's good? And he said, I'm promoting you. And I just...
What a lovely goodbye present.
I was just like, what? Yeah. Like, I couldn't believe it. I mean, I was an emotional wreck. Good job he was there because I could kind of fall upon him. And it was absolutely incredible for him to have first employed me, and then his final promotion of his directorship with the company was really touching.
Well, well-deserved,
Very
well-deserved. And, of course, you have excitement in the new year because one of the world's greatest dancers, Carlos Acosta, is taking over.
It's huge. It's huge, and he is...
Are you allowed to tell me anything about his plans for the company?
I mean, I don't know everything. I just know he has big plans. He has a huge vision, which he is really excited to work with us all on. And he's a lovely, charming guy. I don't know if you've ever met him, but he's lovely, charming. What you see is really what you get. There's no facade. But no, he has huge plans in terms of accessibility for the company, tying our strings even closer with Birmingham, touring more than ever, and I think also on an international scale, reaching to more places, and as well as using more of his contacts and networks with a broader range of choreographers, bringing them in, and even more notable works, even bringing more in that's never been seen here in the UK. So it's going to be a transition. It's not something that's going to happen overnight. We all know that. But I think if we're all on board, it's definitely going to rise.
Exciting times.
Yeah.